Isolation, family, abuse, divorce, peer pressure, anger, unforgiveness, rejection, broken relationships. You know, I'm carrying all of these balloons and more in my life as well. And I'm tired of all this. I'm weary of existing in the mess. When did life become just about survival? And where has the hope gone? And where the flip is Jesus when I need him most? At the age of 15, I met a girl with few external excesses, but plenty of excesses of the heart. At age 15, I was asked to travel to Mexico on a short-term missions trip to work with disadvantaged kids in a very underdeveloped nation. There was a small river running through the shanty town, a river that was a place where they toilets drained, their animals died, and their clothes were washed. It's also where they got their drinking water. One evening, while hanging out on the banks of this slightly flowing sewer, playing with young kids, a young girl of 13 approached me. Now, all of us have been 13, or we will be 13. We all know 13-year-old girls. Some of us have them for sisters, some for daughters, or some for friends. This 13-year-old girl came up to me, and through a translator, she solicited me for prostitution. She wanted to sleep with me for money. 13, and she wants to sleep with me for money. I'm 15, from a safe, middle-class neighborhood in the United States. I have never seen a prostitute, let alone talked to one, and one so young. I was stunned, and I didn't know what to say. But finally, I dug deep into my courage, and I said, but why? Why are you doing this? Through the translator, she spoke to me. She said, you know, my father, she left my mother and my two sisters when we were young, and this is the only way we have to make money for clean water and for bread. What would you say in that situation? What would you do? I thought of my life and realized that even in my darkest times, many of those attached to red balloons like we saw earlier, feeling alone and broken families or anger or unforgiveness, that always deep down, I knew there was hope to be found. So I quickly said, but there is hope. She looked back at me and said 4 words, you know, that I'll never, ever forget. There is no hope. There is no hope. I was absolutely floored. The wind was taken right out of me, and I just stared at her as she quietly walked away. There is no hope. You know, that night I went back to the compound where we were staying, the place that was protecting us from these poor people. Crazy. And I went to the top of this small hill, and I shouted, I screamed, I raged at God until my voice was hoarse. This is not right. This is not fair. Where are you, God? How can there be 13-year-olds, prostitutes, saying there is no hope? Where's the hope? Where is the hope? But just then, in the silence that came after my storm, I felt like God said something to me. Now, it wasn't this big, huge, booming voice, which would have been absolutely awesome. Hello, Greg. Welcome to the show. It was a thought, an idea, a punchline, understood. It was a, yeah, I get it moment. When God said, you are the hope. You must be the hope. And we must be the hope to others. Jesus left the excess, became flesh and blood, and moved into the neighborhood, our excess. He left it all behind for us, and he became present. He became part of our mess. The question is, what is your neighborhood? And I'm talking about 2 places here. They're one and the same, though. The internal neighborhood of your heart and the external neighborhoods that surround you daily. So again, the question is, what is your neighborhood? It could be unforgiveness or your lack of hope. It could be your next-door neighbor, your single-parent mom who's alone and in need of company. It could be impatience, selfishness, or fear. Is it the homeless lady that you faked the phone call instead of stopping and getting her name and sharing a coffee? Is it the bully at the school? Maybe you're the bully at school. Is it anger, porn, or constantly feeling alone on the outside? Is it Africa? Tell you what, let's take a few moments seated at home and here to define our neighborhoods, the interior and the exterior ones, in the midst of all these excesses, is the Rend Collective experiencing an absolutely amazing song. I love the song, called God is Near.